everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a little bit of a different video. It's actually going to be my first year experience at OCAD University. It's been pretty requested, so I thought why not do it. And I know that when I was in grade 12 looking on YouTube for OCADU experience videos, there weren't so many, so I thought might as well contribute to that, and hopefully it'll help some of you guys that are in grade 11 or 12 that are trying to figure out which university you'd like to go to. I know for sure when I watched OCADU experience videos back in grade 12 when I was applying, there was definitely quite a bit of negative reviews about OCAD, and so that made me quite scared and nervous. But I'm here to give you a bit of positivity if you are thinking of enrolling at OCAD. So don't worry, this is not a completely negative video on OCAD if that's what you're looking for. You're looking for a bit of light towards OCAD. So just a bit of a breakdown before I get started with anything if you're looking to jump to certain parts of the video. So the video is just going to be broken down into my application process, the workload at OCAD, social experience, profs, classmates, cons, and pros. So starting off with my program and degree, I'm doing a 4-year degree for Bachelor of Design, and the program that I'm in is Environmental Design, Interior Design Specialization. So as for the application process, I'm actually just going to go ahead and show my portfolio and what mine look like. I will link below the current portfolio requirements and admission requirements and such. Definitely check that out if you are like kind of looking more into that and like still applying and just figuring out what you need to do for your portfolio. And I really honestly like how the website that I've linked is laid out, because it shows what you'll do in the program for first year, second year, third year, and fourth year. And I'm pretty sure this is something similar like this is available for each program that you can apply to at OCAD, which is really, really helpful. And so going through my portfolio specifically, actually, let me just go to that. So this is what my portfolio looked like when I applied for the OCAD one. I thought I had the rest of it, but for some reason the photos have been deleted. But I'll try and see if I still have photos of the artworks that I submitted at OCAD. The main thing that you have to remember is applying for any art program, no matter what university, you will have to prepare a portfolio alongside it, just because obviously it's not really like a marks-based program, because it's more art-based, so they want to see your skills and what you've got to offer. And usually alongside that portfolio, I found basically all the universities that I applied to, you also need to prepare a paragraph or like a short essay, like 500 words, of why you want to do that. But yeah, so like that's definitely something that you want to keep in mind. But I believe I do have photos of the artworks that I'd submitted, so I'll just go ahead and put those here so that y'all can have a look and just see like kind of what got me into the program. What's actually quite interesting about OCAD's like portfolio situation, whereas most of the other universities that I applied to for the portfolio, they kind of had like a set amount of like a set 3 drawings of like specific things like furniture or like landscape and then something else, and you could submit maybe like an additional 2 or 3 of your own like personal choice of artwork. But as for OCAD, you just submit any like 6 of your artworks, and it's a very wide range. You can just basically submit anything that you deem yourself as a piece of artwork, photography, paintings, like drawings, anything like that, sculptures even. So that's what kind of, I guess, is nice about OCAD's portfolio requirement. There's not a specific thing that you have to draw of or make or anything like that, so it's very broad in that sense. I know that OCAD's very even if you're applying for the sculpture and installation program at OCAD, you can submit a bunch of drawings or a bunch of paintings, and they still obviously will have a look at that and see your talents and skills from that artwork. So onto the workload of first year as a university student at OCAD. In the end, you have to remember it's art, so you know, like, you have to dedicate time to make it good. And the hopes are that because you're in an art program that you apply to, you know, you're enjoying what you do and you're enjoying your process, that you're making these artworks and these creations. So obviously in the end, it is going to take some time. Like, it honestly just depends on how long you yourself takes time to do art as well. Like I remember for sure, like sometimes obviously the projects would take a long time and I would be a bit over it, but I always have to remember in the end that like, hey, the work that I'm doing is the work that I love and the work that I enjoy, so might as well just enjoy the process as you're creating. And definitely time management management is very much key. I think that I was definitely able to manage it quite well. Like even back in high school, I was pretty good at time management. Some suggestions I'd say is like that I used myself is like make lists and write out the assignments that are due the week of or the following weeks after as well, so you know, like in your head you have like a mindset of when things are due and when you have to get things by, and just prioritizing your work is quite important. Obviously, again, because it's art, you want to dedicate as much time as you can and not really rush the process. So you obviously want to have like a wide view of how much time you necessarily have so that you can make sure to prioritize certain projects that are due earlier than others, or just to know, like kind of gauge how long you'll take on each project so that you know that you won't be rushing yourself towards the finish line. So yeah, just majorly in general, I just say prioritize your work. Sometimes in the end, people are saying that, you know, at uni you won't have time for social events and whatever. I was able to keep a balance of that, and I was able to hang out with friends and stuff and things like that, but obviously I also set time to do my work and set aside time to do that, because in the end you are paying for your schooling, so you want to get the most out of it and you want to spend time doing it because you are paying for this valuable time. Now, as for social experience, definitely this is something that I know that if you were to ask a lot of people at OCAD, this is something that OCAD lacks. There's not really very many social clubs. I know there's a page on the website that there's like a set amount of clubs that you can join, so that can be helpful, but personally this year I didn't really join any clubs. I definitely saw, I think there was a pottery club that sort of I found out towards the end that I would consider joining next year. And like, yes, at times you can find that it could be sort of cliquey, but honestly that's just how it is everywhere. Then the good thing is that you're at an art school, so there's a lot of common interest between everyone, and just make friends as much as you can because it is first year. The thing about OCAD as well is that there is no res, so that's definitely something that sort of sucked when I was sort of considering it. But I'd say definitely just make friends and just be open to just talking to your classmates, because that definitely got me to be able to befriend so many of the ones that I am close to it now at OCAD, is just by talking to them in class, like any sort of natural way that you would make friends, I suppose. There's also, I know for sure there's an OCAD like Instagram page for like OCAD 2025 or whatever year that you're graduating. There's an Instagram page usually that's made for that, and then you can add friends on Instagram and talk to them over DMs if you like. So I think that overall for social experience, just be open. As does any person that is going into university first year, you sort of just talk to a lot of people and then you end up sort of narrowing down and finding one that you enjoy hanging out with and it feels effortless. As for the profs, I honestly had probably one of the best experiences ever, especially going into first year. Obviously you always hear high school teachers and just other people say how the profs are a lot harder, which they are, because again it's this post-secondary sort of stigma that things are harder and the workload is harder because you're going into real life and things like that. And that's true, but also what I honestly love about OCAD in terms of OCAD, and also this is kind of what I guess heard as a pro from OCAD before I attended, was that the profs are a lot more forgiving and a lot nicer than versus any other universities, just because I think it's just the environment that you're in, and because it's an art-based university, all the profs have art-based backgrounds and they also enjoy what they're doing and they love what they're doing as well. For the helpfulness, I honestly had the utmost amount of helpfulness from my profs. They were so kind, and honestly probably the best experience that I could have asked for going from high school to university and dealing with these profs. Obviously also when it comes to the critique period or when they're giving you feedback on your work once you've handed it in. So opinion wise, people and your profs are not going to always like what you make, and that's just the reality of things. But honestly I think that's very necessary, since especially if you're going to be pursuing a career in the art, you've got to build that tough skin because it's gonna be tough out there. And so yeah, like not everyone's gonna like your art, but you've got to deal with that. You've got to somehow morph that critique and that harsh or whatever dislike for your artwork into something that's motivational, so that you can just push yourself towards achieving better and just being better at what you do, because that's just kind of the career of art is always evolving and you've just gotta keep on moving towards that. And I know that for sure something that my friend told me / classmate, she said that like, you know, not everyone's gonna like your work, but that's just how it is and it's just how things are and you just got to deal with it. And like also when the profs and other people are saying that maybe like negative things about your work, you've got to make sure that you keep that fine line between the fact that they're critiquing your work and not yourself as a person, because that's just, you know, sometimes yes, you will take things personally, but you also have to remember that they're just looking at your artwork and they're just saying negative things about your artwork and not actually about yourself. So don't take things too personally, because obviously that will get in your head and it'll just affect you negatively. So just keep that fine line between the comments about your work and the comments about yourself. And then as for support, I'd say don't be afraid to ask your profs for help and email them, because honestly I found that especially at OCAD, the profs really cared about me and like my other classmates as individuals, and they're always reaching out and telling you to reach out if you ever need to extend your deadline for things, or just if you are having a bad time mentally and you just need to take a step back. They really do like understand, and I did found that they're very passionate about their work and they want to share that with you. Yeah, in general I found that the profs really want you to succeed, and if you show them that you're passionate about learning, they'll return that same level of enthusiasm. So if you ever also want to ask for deadlines, as do with anyone else that you're trying to show respect to, you want to let them know like at least like a few days in advance that you do like, hey, like I need a little bit more time. And if you tell them in advance with a good enough reasoning, they'll understand, because you're telling them beforehand instead of maybe an hour before, because that just shows that you were just being irresponsible, and obviously your excuse is probably a made-up one. And then likewise, sort of hand in hand with social experience, as for my classmates, it was very diverse and open, which was very nice. And you are in downtown Toronto, so I suppose that's kind of a given, I guess, or like a natural thing to happen. Obviously, of course, you're gonna have some competitive people, especially in the art world, but honestly, again, it's prepping you for your future in the art industry after all. Likewise, with any new school setting, you'll find people that you'll enjoy spending your time with, and then obviously some that you don't see eye to eye with, but that's just how it is. So as for like just some cons that I'm kind of thinking off the top of my head, there is no gym, so that's kind of something that sort of sucks, I suppose. But there's a student discount for like I forgot what it's called, but it's this gym that's like on the same street as the university that you can go to, and you get a student discount on that if you ever need to. And honestly, technically in a sense, at like a uni, for example, that does have a gym, the fee that's paying for the gym is probably embedded in your tuition. So since OCAD doesn't have a gym at all, that extra fee that you normally pay for the gym probably doesn't really exist. So in the end, you're not really like losing any money, especially if you're someone that doesn't go to the gym at all. That doesn't really matter for you, and it might be a plus because at least you're not paying that extra in your tuition just for a gym that you're not going to use. And again, like another con I would say is like that there's no res, so that kind of limits your ability in a sense to make friends. But again, as I said, there's always opportunities to make friends online or just in class. And to wrap it up with some of the pros, which again, I think I've said like a lot of the pros throughout this entire video, but some like standing out pros is that there's insurance that you get alongside being an OCAD student. So, you know, it covers dental, optometrist, and quite a few other things. There is an app that I'll just actually like show a photo of and link down below that you can download, and it just shows you all insurance things that you get additionally as being an OCAD student. There's also lots of bursaries and scholarships. You just got to go to the website to just find what type of bursaries there are available and scholarships that are available for you to apply for. Then also, personally for me in the environmental design interior design program, there's a lot of programs you are given access to as a student. I think just also each program that you're in, like each major that you're in, and the applications that are required in those classes that you're going to be applying to, it's all given access to you for free as an OCAD student that you can download. For me personally, I was able to download most of the Adobe Cloud, so like Adobe Photoshop, Rush, Rhino as well, which is for rendering, and SketchUp as well. So those are some things that you are able to download for each program that you are. And yeah, so that's my experience, and I really hope that it did help you with your decision as to whether you want to go to OCAD or you don't want to. And hopefully it's a little bit more of a positive review versus a couple of the other ones that are on YouTube. Also, I'm gonna actually just go ahead and link in the description below some other OCADU experience videos that I watched when I was applying and that I found really helpful. Anyways, I hope you guys really enjoyed watching today's video, and if you'd like, just go ahead and check out any of my other videos. They're more so craft videos, and make sure to give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't, share with family and friends, and yeah, ciao!